Hey YouTubers, and welcome back to Tony the Technician channel, and today we're going to be tearing down the Gearwrench 90 Tooth Ratchet versus the Tekton 90 Tooth Ratchet and seeing the similarities and the differences between the two. I did do a previous video between the Tekton 90 Tooth and the Gearwrench 120 XP, both great ratchets, and I love them both, but you guys did suggest that it would be a better comparison to see the 90 Tooth Gearwrench versus the 90 Tooth Tekton. So I also did a video of the 120 XP 90 Tooth Gearwrench and 90 Tooth Tekton, just kind of going over some details, and now we're actually going to tear into the two that are both 90 tooth. So I really hope you guys enjoy. We're going to take the backing plates off, kind of look at the teeth and pawls and everything, and see the similarities and differences and the designs of them. So I really hope you guys enjoy. But these new Gearwrench 120 XPs will be linked down in the description, as well as the new Tekton 90 Tooth Ratchets and a lot of other tools. So if you're interested, it's down there in the description under tools I suggest. So these are going to be part numbers 81206 Tango and 81207 Tango for the comfort grip, and then once again all of these will be linked down in the description. So just looking at the outsides of the ratchets, on the bottom here we have the Tekton, and then on the top we have the Gearwrench, the new design where they both companies slimmed down the designs of their previous ratchets and kind of improved upon them. Tekton came a long ways in their ratchets, really big design changes there. This is a flex head, but it's still going to work for the purposes of this video. And then the Gearwrench, for some reason on the 3/8 drives you do see the dimple in the head. It doesn't seem to affect operation or anything like that. That's just something I noticed. They did change the logo here on the top, as well as add the 90 tooth. They do have a standard 84 tooth as well. Both switches are the same on this direction, off that direction. As far as the feeling of the lever, the Tekton does feel like it has more of a click to it. But both are almost flush, and they do a good job of staying out of the way so you don't accidentally bump them on something and switch directions. So that's good. Both very good slim head design. Obviously this one being flex, but that's not the point. Both of them have a great chrome polish or chrome finish. They're both comfortable in the hand. The 90 tooth did add this gold or orange ring around it, and the Tekton does have this nice kind of cutout groove for your finger, and it feels really good in the hand. And then they both come to a beveled end down there, kind of a little different there. So as far as the backing plates, you can see on the Tekton over here, it uses two Torx screws, T10, and then on the Gearwrench, you have your standard C-clip there. And the backing plate design shape has changed from their 92 or their 84 tooth and 120. It's supposed to create a better seal and prevent dirt and debris from getting in there. Now with the Tekton, they do say it comes lightly coated with machine oil, so it's not going to be heavily lubricated or anything like that. And I have lubricated these ratchets, and I do not suggest using anything super greasy or super tacky, just a light, maybe a 3-in-1 oil, something very light to lubricate this, because the teeth being so fine and free floating, you don't want the pawl to stick to the main gear, because then it can jam up. So a nice light coat of machine oil works perfectly on these. On this, I do feel by excuse me, I do feel by the sound of the ratchet that it does have quite a bit of oil or lubrication in it. It's just got a deeper sound to it, and that could also be due to, you know, sizing of the teeth or spacing of the teeth. Even though they're still 90 tooth, both are 90 tooth ratchets, that doesn't mean that they're exactly the same size or anything like that. So Gearwrench and Tekton. So to me, the Tekton sounds like a lighter, finer tooth, whereas the Gearwrench sounds like a deeper, bigger tooth. if that makes sense. They're still both 90 tooth, but the teeth size and everything can make a difference in the sound as well as the lubrication that's inside the ratchet. So let me go ahead and get these out of the way and we'll tear these down. Okay, so over here on the left I have the Tekton gear wrench on the right. You will just need a T10 Torx for the Tekton. And you want to remember when installing these backing plates, you really don't want to crank down on these little screws. That does create pressure on the gear and may cause binding or anything like that. So you literally just snug them up and that's it. You might have to kind of pull on the drive to get the backing plate out. So here's a look at the backing plate for the Tekton. Just a light oil on there. Do not lose these screws. I'll just set them right there. And here is a look of it without pulling anything out. Now we're just going to be pulling the main gear pawl out. And you can see there seems to be a shim on here as well, so you don't want to lose that. And then as far as the gear wrench, you're going to need some snap ring pliers. Simply squeeze it together. There you go. And then same thing to get the backing plate off, kind of pull up on the main gear. Here, you can tell it's quite oily. It's quite a big difference in thickness here. So, and then a close-up look. Gee, there's a lot of lubrication in here. That's what I was expecting, since it does have that deeper tone to it and just the feeling of it. So here's a close-up look of both. As you can tell, the gear wrench is much more lubricated than the Tekton. Here, you can see the heavy grease remaining on there. So we'll go ahead and slowly pull the main gears out. And the pawl just kind of floats on that spring right here. So here's the pawl for the Tekton. Same thing for the gear wrench. And first we'll just go ahead and look at the internals. We won't be pulling the lever out or spring or anything. So here you can kind of see the cutouts or the machining in the head of the ratchet. Definitely have a much thicker wall on the gear wrench. Sorry, I keep trying to look at it myself and not through the camera. I keep pulling it off camera. So, and then this spring does easily just slide out from here. And it's almost like they use a pin on this one. So, there's a close-up look of the internals there. Now remember, the gear wrench does have that shim on there. Or the Tekton. The gear wrench, I do believe, has a little rubber O-ring, if I can get it to focus, in the main pawl as well to really seal up the ratchet from that backing plate. They make a good seal together to prevent that dirt and debris from getting inside. As far as thickness, the Tekton is a little bit taller. Focus. So, obviously, both 90 tooth, Tekton being a little bit taller on the gear as well as overall height as well. Seems like it's got a lot more meat here as well. Maybe creating a stronger drive point, prevent it from snapping off. Then the back, you can tell they have different designs. This kind of sits in the machine part of the ratchet there. And that's why you don't want to over torque this, because that's going to pinch this between the backing plate and the backside of the ratchet. And then the gear wrench just kind of, almost free floats in there, I would call it. You do have that cut out in the head, but there's nothing here that's really holding it in place or anything like that. And then looking at the two gears, on the left you have the Tekton, which just like the main gear is a little bit taller. If I can stop shaking. But shorter. And then the gear wrench is slimmer but longer. So quite a big difference here, and that's where you really hear that difference in sound when operating the ratchet and how it feels. Doing that, I suppose some of you probably would like to see it being reassembled. So now that I just pulled that off of the spring. Okay. You simply just take your paw, you set it just like that, and then you're literally squeezing your gear back in there. Check the operation. And that's why it's spring loaded, so it can compress right there and then pops back out to reverse direction. So a lot of teeth engaged there. I'm not going to be able to actually see, but you can see a lot of teeth are engaged there with the gear, creating a nice strong ratchet, being able to apply a lot of torque. And then same thing with this. You set the pawl in there, you take your main gear, press it inside. This one's a little bit harder to see since there's so much grease inside, but make sure it free spins. And you can switch direction. Oh yeah, you can hear that lubrication. Kind of get a close-up look now. And that's it. So when reinstalling this, you don't want to forget the shim for the Tekton, then the backing plate, and like I said before, do not over torque these, just snug them up hand tight and just get each one started. You don't want to run one down all the way. So both of those are snug. And then the gear wrench. Simply take your backing plate and throw it right on there. Do your best not to lose the snap ring. Center that up. There we go. So there it is, the teardown of the Gearwrench 90 Tooth Ratchet and the Tekton 90 Tooth Ratchet. You can clearly hear the differences, and now you've seen the differences, so you might understand as to why they sound different, both being 90 tooth. Both I believe to be great designs. I love my Tekton ratchets. I've been using them a lot lately in the last 6 months. They've held up great, and I've always loved my 120 XP. Had those for a couple years now and used them a lot. So now we'll be breaking in the 90 tooth, which I believe is going to be another great ratchet, especially for the price. Once again, everything's linked down in the description for you guys if you guys are interested. If there's any questions you have, please leave it down in the comments. I'm always happy to reply. Thank you guys so much for your support. If you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit that thumbs up, leave a comment down in the comment section, and as always, subscribe if you're not a subscriber. See you guys next time.